Welcome to the LifeSongs Morning Show. Hey, I'm Josh, and I hope you're having an amazing day. I am very excited to inform you you could have a very amazing weekend very soon. The Weekend to Remember conference is coming up in just a matter of weeks. This April, it'll be in Baton Rouge, and I'm honored to get to talk with a longtime speaker at these Weekend to Remember conferences put on by Family Life. It's Ed Uszynski joining the LifeSongs Show. How you doing, Ed?
I'm good, Josh. Thanks for having me on this morning.
It is my great pleasure. Very excited about this Weekend to Remember. I've been married for 20 years this coming May. So I've been to a number of Weekends to Remember and other conferences, and I've never walked away thinking, well, that was a waste of time. It's always like full of hope and fully charged up. What would you say right off the bat to convince someone that's on the fence why they should go to a Weekend to Remember?
Oh, wow, Josh. Well, I'll tell you this. My favorite part of the weekends, and my wife Amy and I have been doing these for almost 20 years now. We'll do several of them a year. And my favorite part is on Sunday when people are waiting in line to come up and say, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It was so much better, especially guys.
Mhm.
And it's not even just on Sunday. It's actually happening all weekend long where people just say, okay, this is way better. I mean, we've had the best conversations that we've had in our marriage, and it wasn't boring like I thought it was going to be. It's fun, and the speakers are funny, and they're telling the truth about their own marriages. I think people think they're going to get lectured to or get sermons preached to them, and it's just not like that at all. So it's way more fun than it seems like it would be.
That's awesome. I remember very early on in my marriage, this was 20 years ago, and it was, I don't know, maybe a month after we got married. My wife said, I've signed us up for something this weekend. And if we go, they're going to send us on vacation. And we went to a La Quinta Inn and someone sold us knives. This is not that.
No, it's
What
not.
is a weekend to remember?
We're taking the knives away from you actually so that you can use just good words with each other. Well, weekend to remember it's really a weekend retreat is really what it is at a nice destination hotel where you can just get away with your spouse and turn things off for the weekend and talk to each other about the things you most want to talk about but just don't usually have time to do. And between the speakers that are up front, there'll be two different speaker couples there that will be leading you through the sessions. And there's a workbook that has questions in it, and that just kind of sets you up and gives you permission really to have the conversations you really want to have with each other. And it does that. It equips you. It sets you up, and it gives you the language and the questions so that you're not scrambling around trying to figure out where do we go from here. It's like, no, you listen to the session and you'll know what to do in between sessions to talk to each other.
It's amazing how our own insecurities can get in the way of the raw, honest conversations that need to happen, and not even the raw, painful ones, but even the joyful ones of just like, I'm so in love with you and I don't know how to tell you anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you just get in a rut. I mean, Josh, you've been married 20 years. You know this. We've been married 24 years. You just get in a rut with each other, and think that it can't look any different than it looks right now. And so, again, that's one of the pieces of feedback we get is just the hope that we actually could start to do something a little different with each other. And we just didn't even realize that was possible, or it's sort of given up on the possibility of that being true.
So, with a weekend to remember brought to us by Family Life, Ed, is it for veterans who have been married for decades? Is it for engaged or newlywed couples, or is it for people who are like about to call divorce lawyers? Like, who is this for?
Yes.
Yeah.
It really is everybody. It's amazing because we'll often do little questions with the crowd or whatever just to see where people are at. And you literally have people who just got married sometimes hours ago. We've heard stories where people got married, in the same hotel and decided to come to the weekend to remember before they're going to go on their honeymoon or before they're going to be deployed, was actually a story I just heard the other day. So they literally been married 2 hours. And then there's always couples that have been married for over 50 years that are there. Some are in a great place with each other and just wanted to get away as a refresher. And some literally have divorce papers in the car at every conference. And so one of the things that we even say right from the beginning is, man, wherever you're at on that continuum, You don't have to try to pretend this weekend. You don't have to worry about who's sitting next to you or acting or looking a certain way. Just be exactly where you're at on that continuum and see if God may have something for you that will help you take one step closer to oneness with each other. Whether you're in a really bad place or you're in a great place, maybe there's just one step closer you can take this weekend. And it's really a great way to set things up, I think, for the weekend. It sets people at ease and it really does open up the door to everybody to be able to come.
There are going to be plenty of weekends where you can sit at home and binge watch a show on Netflix or clean that closet that is on the list. This weekend is something special you can do that could literally change the course of your marriage and your family's life.
Yeah, Josh, I love that. One of my fellow speaker colleagues, Brian Goins, says you could invest 3 days in such a way that it'll change the next 30 years of your life. And I love that. You know, that may sound a little brochure-ish or like it's an over promise, but I've been doing this long enough to see no, it really is true. Again, it's not like we're going to talk about anything that's so radical, and a lot of it's stuff that people have heard before, but it's just getting away and it's hearing it in a fresh way, and it's giving yourself a chance to talk about it with each other, to pray to God maybe more than you've done, because you're prompted to do that during the weekend. It just sends a lot of people home on Sunday afternoon looking forward to this next week in ways they haven't felt in a long time.
That's awesome. And even awesomer is right now, it's early registration for this Springs Weekend to Remember, and there's like a big sale going on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a window, and Josh, you probably got the dates on it. It's a fairly short window, but if you register during this time, you get 50% off the total registration, which again, that's not happening all across the season, but they do open that window several times, and we're in the middle of one right now.
That's awesome. Well, any parting thoughts for us, Ed? Anything that we should prepare for if we're going to this weekend to remember? Do we need like a checklist, or can we just come?
Well, I would say both to that. You can just come and figure it out along the way, but you know what? Family Life has got all kinds of pre-conference emails that they send that let you know what to expect and what to bring and what the schedule is for the weekend. It's to try to anticipate all of your planning needs. And so my word would just be, if you're thinking about doing it at all, this is the year to do it. Don't wait for another year. Again, I'm not being paid by Family Life to say the things that I'm saying right now. I'm saying them because I literally experience it every time Amy and I go to one of these. We see what happens with people. And so many people say, we wish we would have done this a long time ago. We've been planning it and things just kept coming up, or we kept letting things get in the way. So let my voice be the one that says, if you're thinking about it, make this the year you go and see what God does.
All the details are up at lifesongs.com. Ed Uszynski, thank you so much for taking some time to share with us about Family Life's Weekend to Remember conference. And I look forward to when you actually get to come down to Southeast Louisiana, enjoy some beignets and crawfish, and invest in our marriages down here.
Right on. Thanks, Josh.